Your old team, the Bombers, scored a 1-point win over the West Coast Eagles, but based on Kane's theory, this was a 10-goal win to West Coast.
Yeah, TJ, they were, weren't great. They got out to a 30-point lead, and West Coast found a way to get back. So they've fallen in an absolute heap, the Bombers. So they get the win, but they are not playing good football.
They just have no consistency.
Well, they couldn't defend the ball movement. So you allow West Coast to take, I think it was 111 marks, and the ease of which they were able to transition the ball. It was back to the days where we spoke about, there's Langford, he's kicking 5. He's kicked 45 goals for the year. It's been a phenomenal performance from him, but they just didn't bring the pressure. Their forwards didn't want to defend. Neither did their midfield. And for a team who spoke throughout the pre-season, they wanted to be the hardest running defensive team in the league. They allowed West Coast just to waltz out of their forward line yesterday.
All right. You're the coach of the West Coast Eagles, Adam Simpson. Do you maybe pick up the phone and ask the question of the AFL as to how this ball was thrown up late in the game? This ultimately is the passage of play that leads to Langford kicking the 5th of his goals and the match-winning goal. It doesn't seem a normal throw up there to me.
At least he threw it to the ruckman, It did go to a contest, though, didn't it?
Bizarre.
Not ideal.
Well, it was just an unusual act.
Should have recalled it. Should have recalled it in that situation.
Yeah. Hey, I guess, there are clubs, and, Kane's been big on this throughout the year, that, it is an uneven balance sheet, isn't it, when you play the West Coast Eagles, whether it be the Coleman medal, the Brownlow or whatever, but also when it comes to percentage. But Brad Scott, on the back of that win yesterday, albeit by a point, was certainly dismissing any talk pre-match of a percentage booster.
Yeah, up until the last game, I'm not sure you're going to hear any coach talk about percentage. Like, we are nowhere near that stage. Like, going into a game thinking that, the 4 points are banked and it's all about percentage. In a perverse way, I'm not that disappointed that our players got that lesson. Because if it did seep into their subconscious somewhere, they better get it out pretty quick.
And they don't win that game without Kyle Langford, who's had a fantastic season. Another person that you talk about in All-Australian, particularly in the squad. Kicked 5 goals and the winner yesterday. And he was a midfielder. He was tried as a backman, and he's found just a nice niche. He's a beautiful lead at the football, and he's a dead eye when he gets in front. Kicked 5, and then he's kicked 45 for the season. He has been, I think, the Bombers' most consistent player this year. He's been an avenue to goal when they haven't had one. Peter Wright had a fair bit of time out of this competition, but he has been a brilliant player this year for the Bombers, and the reason, almost a single reason they won yesterday. It was a big game yesterday, and one that West Coast almost caused the upset of the season. We've already spoken about Kyle Langford, who kicked 5. Peter Wright was inaccurate early. Parrish, Hind, I like the fact that he's come back into the side. Tim Kelly, best and fairest winner, I think, at West Coast this year, has been their most consistent player. And Jamie Cripps, good to see him back. But this started where the Bombers were quite inaccurate. They had all the play in the first quarter, they had all the play in the first half, and they were 9 up on the inside 50s, and you thought that the Bombers would steady and win this game comfortably. They got to 30 points in front halfway through the third term. You thought this is going to turn into a 9, a 10, maybe even 11 goaler. But slowly, West Coast started to win the football back, and it was Kelly, it was their midfield, Duggan, and the uncontested marks they're able to take against the Bombers. The Bombers just weren't cherry ripe in their pressure yesterday. There's been times this year where the Bombers have been very good when they put the pressure on, but yesterday I thought they were slightly off in their pressure, and it came down to Kyle Langford being the match winner and kicking the last goal. But the Bombers, they get another chance next week against, I think they play North Melbourne next week. So if they do make the finals, Kane, can they do anything, or is this it for the Bombers?
I think they'd be making up the numbers a little bit, Brownie. There's a couple of teams on the cusp of the 8 you'd be nervous about. I'd be nervous about Sydney if they got there. I'd certainly be nervous about Giants and perhaps Adelaide. The Saints and the Bombers probably wouldn't be that concerned about.
So the run home for the Bombers, North Melbourne, GWS in Sydney, and then Collingwood. So they probably have to win all 3 of them to make it. In terms of Darcy Parrish, he's been good since he's come back into the team. He had another fantastic game. Merritt's probably not getting the huge numbers that he was maybe for most of the majority of the year, and Darcy Parrish, the criticism is how much does he do with his disposals. We had another 33, 9 clearances, 13 score involvements, so that was a positive for his game, and hopefully his signature will be with the Bombers shortly.
Hopefully he can do that a bit more as well, go forward and kick a goal, but you're right, those 13 score involvements stick out.
Let's have a look at the votes. Kyle Langford, the best man on the ground. Kelly, I thought Nick Hine. Zach Merritt had 29. His pressure acts, he was the one player in the middle of the ground. He's done it all year, Zach Merritt. His pressure acts were good. His score involvements were great. But Kyle Langford, best man on the ground.
Welcome back. You are watching the Sunday Footy Show. And at Cardinia Park last night, this was one of the games of the season against 2 sides who are still very much in the race for the the trophy at season's end. Although, Kane, you did say, I'm not trying to be smart, but you did say this was as good as a win for Port Adelaide.
Yeah, I think they'll be selling it. They'll be selling it that way psychologically. I thought it was a strong performance. But you're right, it was a great game of footy. It was high scoring. The Cats kicked 7 goals in the first quarter. Henry kicked 3 of those. And joining us to tell us all about it is one of their really important small forwards. His name is Brad Close. Brad, thanks for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Felt like there was a real intent to move the ball with genuine speed. Perhaps, that was an adjustment that you made during the week. Was that the case, or was that the way the game just played out?
Yeah, I think we looked to take the game on a bit, and we knew we were going out there to win the game. So we thought we'd back ourselves in, and if mistakes happen, we'd get over there and sort it out and, play the game like we wanted to.
So we're just looking at some of those examples, like at any time Geelong looked to be held up, they just moved it with genuine speed. Clearly Port Adelaide were undersized behind the ball, so they had some favourable matchups there. But how have you seen the year, Brad? It's been some good but some disappointing. You've had some challenges with personnel and form and injury, but from your perspective, can you give us your overview of the first 21 weeks of the season?
Yeah, it has been pretty up and down, I guess. We've had good patches of a few weeks where we get back to playing the way we want, and then we have a few disappointing games that follow up. So I think we're lucky to still be in a position where our season's up to us. So if we can keep playing the way we want to, like we did last night, it's sort of still open for us. We can see where we go.
Can I ask you about not playing with Tom Hawkins? So Ollie Henry's kicked his 4 goals last night and benefited from that, but just the way the ball came inside, does it go to other players a little bit more, and what it was like, because he hasn't missed too many games, Tom Hawkins?
Yeah, exactly right. We've had Tom in most every week. I think that was the first time Jezza hadn't played with Hawk. So, Ollie really stepped up, which was great to see. He's having a great year as well, and I think that confidence is just going to grow. But yeah, Tom is a key player for us, so it was good to see. I guess the load was sort of spread a bit more, and it just shows that we've got a number of key players down there that can get the job done.
Tom Stewart had a stack of the football again, more intercepts than any other player on the ground, but it's more what he does when he does have the ball. So there was 3 times last night he came off his man and was able to spoil the ball at pivotal moments to take it back the other way, which just must build your team up.
Yeah, absolutely, especially ahead of the ball when you can see Stu come and intercept. It's massive. He gets the ball moving back our way and we can attack through his intercept. So, yeah, he's a very consistent player for us, week in, week out.
Brad, do you sit here this morning believing you can still win the flag in 2023?
Yeah, absolutely. I think if we look back to last year, we can get on a roll and put good wins together, but obviously we're not playing our best footy at the minute, so we've still got a few weeks to keep working on our game. And I guess, if we get things going, there's no reason why we can't.
Hey, Brad, if the best and fairest count was to be, it's tomorrow, where do you think Ryan Myers would sit in that? Like, could you think he'd be a possibility of winning it?
Yeah, absolutely. Grant's had an amazing season, and his consistency each week too. Obviously leading the league with assists, which is something that probably didn't used to get brought up heaps. But his disposal use inside forward 50, even linking us up the ground, has been top notch. So I reckon he'd definitely be top 3, if not right up there.
Yeah, it's phenomenal last night's performance, as was Dangerfield. He doesn't have to do what he perhaps once did when he was in his mid-20s and a younger man. He's 33 now. He's played well over 300 games, but I thought he stood up when he needed to, and some of his inside stuff, we know, like this one here, the ability to win the ball in contest, get up and dispose of it. But he came to play in the last quarter. He had 8, he had 4 inside 50s and 3 score involvements. What's his week like now, and how often does he train, and how does the club manage him?
Yeah, no, Pat's still out there as much as anyone else. He puts in as much hard work as he probably used to as well. So, no, I think he's in great nick, and some of his performances of late and the way he put his body on the line last night is amazing. And it's something we talk about. We look at Pat and how strong he is in a contest, and it's something that we all want to try and work towards being a player like that.
Friday night football, you play Collingwood coming up. We all can't wait for that one. What do you think you need to do as a team? What's the key to find that consistency that you haven't quite been able to find this year?
Yeah, I guess if we look back to round one where we were on top for a lot of the game. It's sort of been something we've been keen to get back to and take him on again. They're obviously a really good side, so we're going to have concentration for the whole game this time out. And I think if we can get the game going our way and on our terms, try and take away from some Collingwood strengths, we'll be in for a good crack, and really looking forward to Friday night.
So will you also have a good long look at what Hawthorn did yesterday and try and take some of that away and maybe employ that yourself?
Yeah, we obviously do look at reviews and opposition reviews as well, but I think something that we try and focus on is ourselves, and like we did last night, is go out and us win the game. Obviously, you give respect to every opponent that you play, but I think we know that on our night, if we play the way we want to, that we can beat any opponent. So, yeah, I think more focus goes on how we want to play, and obviously look at the opposition strengths, but what we can do to win the game.
Brad, let's take a look at the votes last night. You had some really good players, as did Port Adelaide, to be fair, but Myers was the best player on the ground. I thought Butter's performance for the midfield was just extraordinary. His ball use, 10 score involvements. Tom Stewart, as Lordo mentioned, and Connor Rosie putting together another excellent year. You walk away with the best prize pack in football. It is Lou's prize pack, a pair of JLab Epic Air Sport ANC headphones. You will love them. They're magnificent, I can tell you. TJ wouldn't know because he doesn't have any yet, but an Odyssey White Hot Versa putter valued at $450 thanks to Odyssey. Lots of golf stuff here, including the Clutch & Co apparel, head-to-toe package from them. The Callaway hats are terrific as well, as are the Travis Matthews caps to keep the whole playing group happy. There's the OGO backpack, so a $150 voucher for a bag of your choice from OGO. The bar fridges, terrific supporters of ours. Bar Fridges Australia, keep your drinks cool with a fridge with your name on it. The Aquila shoes as well, premium quality footwear since 1958. The Fizz Functionals, excellent drink actually. 0 sugar and barely a calorie in sight. Glow is relaxation in a can. The Rix Eyewear, pair of Rix Eyewear that inspires confidence. rixeyewear.com.au. There they are there. And a meal for you at Platform 28, our favourite pub right here in Docklands.
Exactly. Good stuff, mate. What's on the agenda for this afternoon?
Heading up to Melbourne, actually. It was my partner's birthday yesterday, so I'll take her out for lunch in the city, which will be nice.
Well, I thoroughly recommend KFC at Crown Casino, mate. So if you want to really make an impression, go for it.
Yeah, I don't know if that'll get past her, but I'll see how I go.
All right, good on you. Thanks for your time this morning, Brad, and good luck, particularly for Friday night. It's going to be a cracker.
Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you. Brad Close joining us there. Hawthorn, this one was a terrific win, wasn't it? It came at the expense of the ladder leaders, the premiership favourites Collingwood, and I tell you what, that has given them real belief moving forward.
One of the upsets of the year, TJ. What a performance it was. Their midfield dominance, 18-3 out of the centre bounce, was what struck me, but also their pressure. And they were challenged, as Collingwood do. They challenge you, but Hawthorn hung in there and responded. So kept them goalless in the first quarter, and it was all set up by their pressure, their intent, their ability to win ground ball and clearance. Alicia Muling has a special guest for us, and wasn't this man enormous yesterday? Out to you, Alicia.
Yeah, he was, Kane. Will Day, an absolutely brilliant performance at the MCG yesterday. Will, 29 touches, 7 clearances. For you, a great day at the office and one of the better wins you've been involved in at the footy club?
Yeah, I'd say for my short career so far, that's definitely the best one I've had. I asked Luke Bruce the same question, and he said he's definitely had a few better ones, but yeah, he enjoyed it as well.
4 goals up at three-quarter time, but we know Collingwood have the capacity to come back. What did Sam Mitchell say to you at three-quarter time?
Yeah, I think we still just wanted to play our way. We saw in that Richmond game just a few weeks ago that it could turn pretty quick, especially against such a good side like Collingwood. So we just wanted to keep the foot on the throat, and yeah, it was nice to get away with it.
Let's take a look at some of the match highlights then, because, as I said, it was the style of footy that wins finals, and James Sicily will get to shortly. Will, tell us about your skipper.
Yeah, he's enormous for us. Just on the field, he just does anything for us to win, and it's just the type of guy he is. He'll just do just about anything, and even quarter time breaks, he's had a lot of development this year and rallying the troops, and yeah, it's been really nice.
Hey, Will, your form, as Kane just said, as we watch, some of the match highlights, your form has just been fantastic. Yesterday, 29 disposals, 7 clearances, 6 score involvements. First, I know you're standing beside Alicia there, but how many centimetres are you? You're how many centimetres?
Yeah, I think I'm around 191, 192 now. So, had a bit of a growth spurt in year 12 and hopefully I've got a bit more to go.
So in your own role, so you're just handling it so well. You're tough, you're hard. So inside mid, what about that forward play as well? I know you were a fantastic back early in your career, but how do you see your role playing out from here?
Somehow Day got his balance.
Yeah, it's been nice to get back in the midfield. As a junior, played midfield all the way through, and as everyone got a bit bigger, I sort of got pushed out. So it's nice to get back in now that I've got a bit more confidence in my body. So I know I've still got a lot of development to go. So it'd be nice to get another full pre-season with the mids and keep going from there.
We know Mitch Lewis is going to be a star. You've needed to add to that mix. Brandon Ryan, a couple of games in, 3 goals in front of 70,000 people against the Magpies yesterday, showed that he can play football. Yeah, definitely. He's come in and, he's turned a few heads at training, and he just gets his hands to so many balls. His arms are just extremely long, so when he's out of position, he can just get his hands up there, which is nice for us.
Well, there's been periods of Chad Wingard's career where he's been amongst the very best players in the competition. He's had injuries, though, to deal with at Hawthorn at times. Yet his past month, even elements of this season, he's been very, very good for what you've been about, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's been crucial for our momentum as well, and that's probably something we've struggled with in weeks where we have struggled against the opposition. So for him to just have his attacking presence going forward has been huge for us.
He's footy smarts. There's very few with as many, aren't there?
Yeah, the things he can do with the footy, Sam said it during the week, he can do some things that others just can't. So yeah, it's pretty special now that we're seeing it a bit more consistently.
Finn McGuinness's performance on Nick Dacos, the hottest player in the league, was extraordinary. Like 5 touches to keep him too. That's unheard of. Tell us about his preparation during the week and how he goes about preparing for a task like this.
Yeah, there was a bit of a build-up this week. Sam, in the press conference, let it slip, and there was a bit of a build-up, which I think was good for our group. We really worked up for this game, and so did Finn. So I think it showed the maturity of us as a young group, which is really nice, and for Finn to get that done on a pretty big stage was awesome.
So as a midfielder, I've heard Sam Mitchell talk around that it's not easy having a tagger because you've always got to be adjusting different roles for everyone else to, for if Dacos goes forward or midfield or back or what they try. So how many players would it affect, and does it affect you working around Finn McGuinness?
Yeah, it definitely does. We do have to have a lot more communication because of it, and he gets his role done and then we sort of work around him, so it goes hand in hand.
And one of the main reasons that we're here talking to you today is to have a chat about My Room, the fantastic charity that works with children with cancer and supporting their families. You're one of 14 AFL ambassadors working with the charity. How did you get involved?
Yeah, so just earlier this year, came across Margaret and the team at My Room and just love what they were all about. Children's cancer's pretty sad topic, and I'm just glad that I can do my part to sort of help them and improve their lives.
And guys, right now, My Room has launched a new fundraising initiative. It's called On the Boot, aiming to get rid of childhood cancer and help children and their families who are facing that. Hopefully the details are on your screen. And if you can, sitting at home today, give generously. As Will said, Margaret and the team, they do a wonderful job supporting children and their families. So if you can, please donate generously. Will, thanks for your time today on the Sunday Footy Show. Thanks for all you do for My Room, and thanks for putting a smile on Hawthorn supporters' faces this morning.
Thank you. Thanks, boys. Cheers.
And
thanks, guys.
Thanks, Alicia. He'll be in the votes. What a performance it was, as Lordo has said. So let's take a look at these all Hawthorn players. Sicily just having such a huge year. He was allowed to do as he pleased yesterday. Will Day for his performance in the midfield. McGuinness on Dacos, and I thought Chad Wingard has been really important, as you mentioned, Damo, the last 4 weeks, and still got a bit of footy left in him. Chad Wingard, I think, out of contract with the Hawks, so they'll have a call to make, but if they don't want him, someone else will.
Okay, and I just want to reiterate what Lucia was talking with Will about there, and that is this campaign to help stamp out childhood cancer on theboot.com.au, and you can see all the faces up there, some of the most famous faces in the competition. You can actually team up and donate to them individually. So that's the whole concept here, on theboot.com.au, or you can QR code the scan there, or scan the QR code, and as I say, team up with one of your favourite footballers and do your bit for this magnificent course that Margaret Zeta is so passionate about, and we are too, and we'll be certainly having an announcement or two for grand final week with our telethon. All right, let's talk about the Sydney Swans post-Buddy era, and well, it turned out to be okay for them because they walked away with the 4 points after what are always entertaining contests with these battles of the bridge.
Yeah, it was the second quarter, TJ, where they kicked 6 goals to 3. It was an even first quarter. McLean gets his 4, and it was a fantastic game of footy. You know, two teams that are playing really, really well after starting the season slow, and it was just a lot of momentum swings in it. Even after half time, but the Sydney Swans just kept finding a way, and I just love the fact that against this defensive Giants, who's just been so hard to score against, with no Buddy Franklin. Start of a new era for them. They were able to score 15 goals, 96 points. And I know, Kane, you touched on goal kicking. Yeah. It can win and lose so many games. 15 goals, 6 for Sydney, 12 goals, 13 for the GWS Giants.
12 goals without a miss. Yeah. The first 12 goals they kicked without a miss, and I just thought they moved the ball really well from their back half. So I think the Giants will be a bit disappointed with the lack of pressure that they provided. I like Sydney. So there's McLean, which you've already touched on, Lordo, with his 4 goals. He'd been rucking the last 3 weeks. I like the fact they selected Hickey, and that gave him a different look up forward. But they've won their last 4 in a row, Sydney, and they're coming good at the right time.
This time of year, we talk a lot about the All-Australian. We talk a lot about the Brownlow medal. Errol Goulden would be right up there in both. I think he's in All-Australian form, and I haven't seen him play a bad game this year. And when Sydney win, he has been outstanding again yesterday. 32 disposals. He kicked 2 goals, and that is just... You showed that clip with Craig Bradley before. That is every bit as good as Craig Bradley's goal. And this one off one step, that's a big kick by Errol Goulden. Gets the 3 votes again yesterday. Potentially top 5 in the Brownlow medal this year.
Huge, absolutely huge, and probably the first winger picked in that All-Australian team. The votes yesterday, Errol Goulden gets a clear 8, Luke Parker 7, Hayden McLean 7, and Lloyd also had plenty of disposals.
Who would be your top 5? You got Dacos, obviously, the
Bontempelli.
You're putting Toby in there?
Toby Green would have a lot of votes, and maybe Errol Goulden as well.
Right. So really, the Brownlow might not be the runaway that everyone's
It's down to 3, I think, at the moment.
Bont, Dacos.
And Petrarca.
Right, OK. Time will tell. Welcome back. You are watching the Sunday Footy Show. Not too far away now until our handballers go head-to-head in Louis' handball. But the Adelaide Crows are still in with a big chance of featuring in the September action.
Well, they are, and they're playing some pretty good football. 11th on the ladder. A couple of close games they've lost in the last few weeks, but Darcy Fogarty had a fair amount of possessions to go with his 3 goals. I thought Adelaide it was a workmanlike effort, particularly in the first half, and they got out to a nice lead, and they are very good at home as we know. Probably a 4 or 5 goal better side. I've loved the development this year of Mitch Hinge. He's turned from just a backman who could do his job. Now he does his job, gets on the other end of it, and 30-odd touches yesterday. I thought it was the best game he's seen. We've already spoken about crowds, but they had plus 12 inside 50s for the first 3 quarters, but the third quarter was a bit of an issue for them, Cam. We just spoke about how Sydney were able to kick 12 goals straight, 7 behinds in the third term, and that allowed Gold Coast back in with a glimpse of winning the game at one point.
It did. They looked out on their feet at one stage. That goal there early on in the last quarter, Gold Coast just couldn't go. With Adelaide, they got some personnel injury issues behind the ball, the Crows. They've done a pretty good job. They need another scout. They play Brisbane at the Gabba this weekend. They need another big scout.
There's the votes there, Hinge best on.
The Western Bulldogs were far too good for Richmond on Friday night. As I said, it's sort of probably ended Richmond's season. The Western Bulldogs were dominant in this game. Ugle-Hagan kicked 4 in the first quarter. Norton played well. Bontempelli was awesome, and that's who we want to talk about. It's sort of, we talk about, there's a lot of junk disposals in this game, but he doesn't have a junk disposal. He's tough. that was just inspirational going back to the flight of the Bulldogs.
And Lloydie, Bulldogs people, you hear Luke Beveridge say this year, that they feel they let him down personally with what happened late in 2021 when he ended up polling 33 votes in that year's Brownlow. Ollie Wines got 36 to win it. They feel that their form line late cost him. You're going to give him best on ground for that particular week. And I reckon there's a real commitment this year to not fall away for that reason. Obviously to win matches, but to help him as well.
Yeah, and the man below him is just in career best form, Liberatore. Ugle-Hagan kicked his 5, died out of it after quarter time. And Liam Jones, that side looks so much different with Liam Jones back there in that back line.
It certainly does. So that leaves the Lou Richards medal leaderboard like this. Only a 4-vote lead now for Nick Dacos. So he had the keys a few weeks ago. They were just about to give him the keys of the Lexus. Marcus Bontempelli coming hard as well down to Zach Merritt there. But they are playing, and I mentioned the Lexus, the all-new Lexus RX 350H Luxury. A leader, not a follow-up. It's from Lexus of Blackburn. Dynamic, unique, divine convention, just like the player that gets to drive it home. Thanks to Lexus of Blackburn, the all-new Lexus RX 350H Luxury is like nothing else. Your test drive is waiting at Lexus of Blackburn today. It is the biggest prize in football, and Nick Dacos thought he had it, but they're coming for him, Tony.